How to Budget When You're Broke, an article by Investopedia.com. Suffering from a lack of cash, it may be because you don't follow a budget that reflects your earnings. Smart budgeting prevents eviction, credit card debt, and ruined credit scores. It's never too late to achieve your financial goals. Get started now with these 10 tips to make your financial life less stressful. 1. Avoid immediate disasters. Don't be afraid to request bill extensions or payment plans. These requests are often granted. For instance, suppose that your rent is $650 and you're $200 short. Your bundled phone bill and cable bill is $60. Your electric bill is $100 and your cell phone bill is $40. If these bill payments are postponed until your next paycheck, you can pay your rent now. 2. Review credit card payments and due dates. If you're only making the minimum payments on your credit card or credit cards, you may have subpar credit score. Avoiding credit card payments will only worsen your debt. For example, suppose that your minimum payment on $1,000 balance is $40. You fail to pay $40 on time, so you are charged a $35 late fee. In addition, your interest on future charges is charged at the default rate of 28%. Now your credit card is even more difficult to pay off. Before you know it, you have an overwhelming number of late fees and missed payments. Number 3, prioritizing bills. Go over all of your bills to see what must be paid first. Then set up a payment schedule based on your paydays. You'll want to leave yourself some catch up time if some of your bills are already late. If this is the case, call the bill companies to see how much you can pay now to get back on track towards a positive status. Tell them you are catching up and be honest about what you can afford to pay. 4. Ignore the 10% savings rule for now. Stashing 10% of your income in your savings account is daunting when you're living paycheck to paycheck. Balance your budget before starting incremental savings. It doesn't make sense to have $100 in your savings plan if you are fending off debt collectors. Your savings will have to wait until you can find stability in your finances. 5. Review your past month's spending. Online banking and budgeting software and apps help you categorize spending so you can make adjustments. For instance, with online banking, you can categorize your money for expenses such as rent, food, and utilities. Observe what you spend money on and be intentional about making adjustments. 6. Negotiate credit card interest rates. If you have a good credit card, call your credit card company and ask for an interest rate reduction. If you don't ask, you won't know. It's unlikely that credit card companies are going to initiate a reduction on their own. 7. Eliminate unnecessary expenses. Do you need to cut back on coffee or going to the movies? Or do you often have spoiled groceries? All cutbacks should start with items you wouldn't miss, such as switching car insurance companies to get a cheaper rate or reducing your fresh food purchases if you find food spoiling before you can get it. Yeah. Eating out is even more costly, so examine how much and how often you really need to do this. Using an expense tracking app is a quick and convenient way to keep track of where you're spending each day and each month. 8. Journal your new budget for 1 month. Once you've gone through these first 8 steps, monitor your progress by journaling for 1 month. You can do this by noting everything you spend in a notebook, or you could use budgeting apps on your phone or try financial software. How how you track how you track your money isn't as important as how much you are tracking. Focus on ensuring that every cent is tracked by dividing your expenses into categories such as rent, food, clothing, and utilities. 9. Adjust spending as needed. If, after journaling for 1 month, you found your budget isn't where it needs to be, get prepared to make changes. Look at how much you are over budget and decide where you can cut. Don't rule out items that are viewed as basic, such as groceries, utilities, or rent. Cooking from scratch can eliminate the cost of prepackaged foods, and opting for generic brands over brand names will equal big savings on a cart of groceries. Utilities can be reduced by turning off lights when you leave the room. You may be able to negotiate better rent the next time your lease is up, or you could try to move to a less expensive place. 10. Seek out new sources of income. If your current budget doesn't balance or you're barely scraping by, you may need to look at working overtime, getting a second job, or possibly getting a new, higher paying job. Often there is work that pays more, but the nature of the work is unattractive. You may need to decide if it's better to be unhappy at work or be unhappy in debt. Budget is a way to spend your income. There are various rules of thumb that suggest how you spend your budget. It's typically on a monthly basis. The 50-30-20 rule is a budget that suggests you spend half of your paycheck on needs, 30% of it on wants, and 20% on your savings goals. With a 70-20-10 budget, you allocate 70% of your paycheck towards necessities and non-necessities and 20% towards savings and 10% towards debts or donations. The bottom line, when you're short on cash, a better budget is often the best tool for correcting the situation. Start small and try these 10 tips. Hey friends, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And let me know down in the comments if you heard of this story and your opinions. So be safe and bye bye.